just completed the Hi-Tec Drift Allstars Series, and it comes down to this final and fifth round here this weekend. It's been 10 years of Hi-Tec Drifting All-Stars, and we're back where it all started at the Figure 8 track at Sydney Motorsport Park. Tegan, though, it's all about 4 competitors here tonight because there's 4 of them in the championship fight.
Yeah, I mean, the whole season we've been watching these guys over the five rounds of the series. We've been able to watch them all battle it out. Each one, I would say, have probably had their own fair share of problems. There's probably one name out of the 4 that's been fairly consistent the whole way through. The other ones have been caught out a couple of times, but that's, of course, Glenn Omerod, Scott Shembry, James Abbott and Benny Barnes. So that's his top 4 for the total point score, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all comes down.
Well, James Abbott, can he go back-to-back championships? Will he do it 2 years in a row? He's been on the podium absolutely every round this season. The car just seems to be performing really well. Had a couple of moments at the last round where we saw a little bit of a chink in his armour, so let's hope he can continue on with that because he's leading the championship at the moment, but he's followed by his teammate Scott Shembry, and he is ablaze this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Scott's been on the podium 3 times out of the 5 rounds. Now, last round he was actually knocked out and wasn't in the final 4. That's the first time this year that we've actually seen that, and probably very unlikely. And Kieran Ratcliffe was the one who knocked him off, and we got to chat with Kieran, and he was absolutely over the moon about it.
The other one we've got to talk about is Glenn Omerod. Now, in practice last night, he actually went up the wall and did quite a bit of suspension damage to his car. So they've had a massive amount of work to do overnight and this morning to get that car back. So he's in the championship fight. Benny Barnes, well, he started with 2 podiums at the start of the year, got himself a round win as well. Now, he's fighting back. He's in 4th position. He's a very outside chance, but he's in the fight, and the guy from Rockhampton does a lot of travel. Can he do it this weekend?
Yeah, he had a straight run through to Rockhampton, 18 hours of travel to get home, to make sure that he could get his engine run and done, get anything fixed that he needed to, and get back to Sydney Motorsports Park for the final round. That's commitment from the young kid from Rockhampton.
Well, it's going to be a massive end to the season here at Sydney Motorsport Park. We're back on the Figure 8. Make sure you stay tuned because we've got plenty of action. Yeah, James Abbott with 116 points up for grabs this weekend. It's going to be hard to catch him from any one of our competitors, and can he go back-to-back? Let's see how the judging is going to go with our head judge, Chris Froome.
G'day guys, my name's Chris. I'm the head judge for tonight's Hi-Tec Drift Round here at Sydney Motorsport Park. We're using the peanut truck tonight, so I'm just giving you a quick rundown on how we want people to be on the track today. So from the entry up to the hill, we want them nice and deep, straight into the first clipping zone. Hold their vehicle straight in that outside zone for as long as they can, out into the yellow end zone. But here we want them to extend their car in the corner as long as they can, so we're actually seeing them at the side of the door from where the judges are and switch later. And then as they come out wide, they'll come up through and then they'll drive through the clipping point on the left side and switch to the inside of this track to drive down the hill. And that'll give them good speed up the hill itself. So if the chase car comes through and then cuts this area, what will happen is that the chase car will be able to actually do the proper line and catch them down the hill. But the wrong line is when the guys go out too deep, out to the side here, switch too early, drive around the corner, and they'll end up too deep after that clipping point, which will slow them down for the main up the hill pass. So we want to make sure that they come out nice and wide on every clipping zone so they can actually make it a chaseable run, and it looks better for us all and makes it a better battle.
Well, there was plenty of action when it came to qualifying as well, and super excitement down the pits as Kieran Ratcliffe got on the top of qualifying over James Abbott, and there is nothing in it. Let's go and catch up with Kieran Ratcliffe down in the pits.
I'm not allowed to really have favourites, but when it comes down to what I've seen this year, from the first round, Kieran's always grabbed my attention. And I mean, round 4 at Sydney, you pipped Scotty Shembry, made it into the top 4, you went into the top 4 battle. Now, yeah, almost got jabs too. Now we roll into round 5, the final round, and we're ready to put this thing on the trailer because your top qualifier here at Sydney Motorsports Park, Kieran Ratcliffe.
Mate, what do you say? Like, from the start of the season, we were struggling to keep up, and now we're P1 in Podium on, like, the tightest track. And, like, I was chasing Jabbett yesterday, and we were worried we weren't going to keep up. But we've just pulled it out of the bag. P1.
And, I mean, look, the car's got plenty of character. We've looked at that plenty of times. The driver's got plenty of character. That's what this sport's all about. So we're glad to have you here, and congratulations on the pointy end.
Look, thank you. I just can't say thanks enough. This is just wild. Each round we're losing a panel, but she'll come back better later. It's all good.
All right, Kieran Ratcliffe, ladies and gentlemen. Now, obviously, you're leading the points heading into tonight. It's not a bad lead going into it. Is it just all about making sure you stay consistent, get those points, or are we just going hard and trying to get to the pointy end?
Pretty relaxed about this weekend. We do have a good points lead. I feel like the team and I have done all the hard work earlier in the season, and we're in a position now where it's just the final round. We're here to party, and yeah, there's no nerves. We're just going to go do the best drive we can and hopefully come away with some good battles.
All right, well, James Abbott, your top point man leading into round 5. Good luck for tonight.
Thanks, bud.
Your third place in qualifying tonight after probably a round 4 we'd want to forget. Didn't really get out on the track, but you've come back. Obviously, a lot of work's gone into this, and you're back here for round 5.
Yeah, so we did a timing chain last round. That wasn't exactly ideal. Right in the middle of practice as well, so I only got 3 or 4 laps in there, so didn't even make qualifying. But no, good to actually be back here, having the car running well. It's going awesome out there. I just got to get behind it and drive now, so this is the easy part. This has been the best year I've had. It's so much fun. Like everyone has just been really great to work with and drive with here. So it's on another level. I love it. I really do.
All right, Benny Barnes, well, you're just outside the top 4 on the overall standing, so let's see how you go for the rest of the night.
Well, we just spoke with our top 3 who get a bye run in the top 16 ladder. We've got some fantastic battles coming on. Ian Bahankov taking on Sammy Mudge, and as Scott Shembry taking on Dane Loco, and Jackson Bradbury taking on Daniel Flood on the left-hand side of the tree. And of course, we've got Ned Colson and Joseph Janik will be battling it out, and Glenn Omerod taking on Tim Bradbury from Queensland. Let's get ready for these top 16 battles. All championships up for grabs at the moment. There is 4 people in the running. James Abbott, well, he needs his teammate to go out before him if he wants to secure this one. Anything could happen though. Ian Bahankov will take off though in the big Falcon. Sam Mudge behind him. He's been a busy man in this car throughout 2024 across so many platforms. Have a look at the sparks coming off the front tyre. I reckon he's got a rock or 2 stuck in there. Got the neons underneath as well, trying to light up all the crowd here at Sydney Motorsport Park. They stall up in that section just for a moment. It is very tricky, the figure 8 track, and it is deceptively quick as they get around through this final corner. Just have a look as they go out. Is that dirt? Ian might have picked up a bit of dirt there with the back of the Falcon, which could hurt him in some of the judging. He's already gone past the finish line there as he goes off and does a little bit of lawn mowing for us. Let's have a look at the Tri-Ace replay. Nice start from Ian. He got plenty of speed. They take off into this first corner. They want to go as wide as possible. Does it nicely. It's this section here the judges were really talking about whether you can get the car to flick back in. Now he's missed that clipping point, which slows you down coming through this section, and that's probably an advantage to Sam Mudge. The lead car hasn't followed the line at this point. But he's got it set now. Have a look at how fast he is, but he does just grab a little bit of dirt, and that's the risk versus reward in that final corner. The judges want you to be so far out in that outer clipping zone, but you go that little bit too far and you grab the dirt. Luckily, it hasn't pulled the car around. Now, Sam Mudge is going to lead out, and look how fast he wants to go. The RB20 is all RPM at the moment, and Mudgey, well, he's got a massive right foot, and his accelerator's actually bent at the moment, so he's struggling to drive that car through certain aspects where he's trying to foot brake at the same time. He's quick through here. It's like a little spoon drain. Oh, something wrong with the car. Something wrong. I think it's shot him off to the left-hand side and out onto the grass. Has he just gone through that spoon drain and unsettled the car, or has he bent something underneath in the steering? We'll have to find out, because that is probably going to get him a 0 on this run and could give Ian the win. Let's have a look at the Tri-Ace replay. It was a nice run from Sam Mudge. He's not doing too badly through this section. Very tight there for Ian. He got the car through the big Falcon. Has to try and get that transition done with the real length. And Ian does get the win. And because of this, Sam Mudge going off onto the grass will cause an instant 0 for him in the lead run, and a massive advantage to Ian, the big Falcon. And you can see there, just understeering, it almost looked like one of the tyres wobbling a fraction. So possibly some suspension damage or some steering arm damage on that one. Let's move on to our next battle, Scott Shembry and Dane Loco. Another state of origin, New South Wales versus Queensland. Well, do you say that? Dane's a Kiwi, but he's over here enjoying Australia. Scott Shembry has been on the bake all week, and he is just comfortable back here at the Peanut. Oh no, issues for Dane Loco. He has had to pull out of this one, and he's in the middle of the track. Scott Shembry wouldn't have seen that till he came around. He'll try and finish things off though. Look how comfortable the 350 looks out there at the moment. Going around the figure 8 circuit that he's done so many laps on over his years as a Hi-Tec Blaze unit. We'll have a look at the replay. Hopefully Dane Loca hasn't got anything too bad when it comes mechanically. I think it's all right. Scott Shembry, nice there. Doesn't go too wide. It's this section here where everyone's trying to get their head around it. That looked pretty smooth from Scott Shembry. Now, I just want to have a look at Dane Loco as he moves around. Potentially, that is just DB to the tyre. Yeah, you can see it on the rear left there, the D-bead on the tyre. So he's called a 5-minute, got that car repaired, and he is back out. Brand new tyre. Let's go again. This time he'll lead out. Scott Shembry has everything to lose throughout this run. Dane Loco, everything to gain, so just go hard. Nice through that little section. It's probably where the judges are most critical at the moment. The spoon drain unsettles the car there. You can see most cars come up on 3 wheels. It's a nice run for Dane out in the lead. Fantastic. It is such a shame that he had that D-bead on his chase run. Potentially, we might have seen a rerun there if he could have done that in the chase position. Let's have a look at the Tri-Ace replay. A little bit shallow coming through there. He could have been a little bit wider. Not too bad. Doesn't really flick it through and get that, what the judges were talking about, where it really launches back towards a tipping point. Nice and smooth through here. Again, look at the speed they carry in. Such a short track. Scott Shembry confirmed as the winner of this battle. I think the figure 8 here for most people, you expect it to be a lot slower than these points in the track where the cars slow right down, but that back section is very fast, and it is the change now. We're not on a bitumen track, we're on concrete, so things have changed. Tyre setups are very, very different for some of these drivers. Now, Jackson Bradbury in his dad's car here at the moment. His car, unfortunately, with some mechanical issues there, didn't make it through qualifying, so he's managed to jump in the Falcon Ute. That's a big change from Daniel Flood from Sydney there in the Flood Automotives Holden Commodore Utes. A bit of Ford versus Holden as they go around. The Bradburys used to have a Holden Ute. They've changed it up to a Ford Ute, and they're loving it. Look at the speed though of Jackson Bradbury as he comes through in the big Falcon. Nice and wide as well. That's a good line. He's holding it. Sets the lock up and just holds it through that final corner. Daniel Flood, bit of work to do in the lead run. Check out the Tri-Ace replay. It was a nice start. Flood there on the inside, just had to cut the corner short, and really through this section, it looked quite clunky from him. It's fast here. You have to get that little section right to get that speed as you go through that big right-hander and down the straight onto the final corner. If you don't get it right, it is very hard to get back and get that proximity to the car in front of you. We'll turn him around though. Daniel Flood maybe just wasn't comfortable in the chase position. Let's have a look. Gets through that spoon section. Head in to the first right-hander. He's wide. It grabs a little bit of dirt. You can see it affect the angle of the car there as it just stops the back end from coming around as he goes through here. That looks a lot smoother from him that time. Jackson Bradbury will have a little bit of advantage. Maybe he just grabbed a little bit of dirt on the inside of that front wheel through the spoon section. Flood, he is on a move now. Look how fast he's going. Can he just shallow it up just a fraction? We don't want to see him hit the dirt. They are side by side though. And Jackson Bradbury, he has passed the finish line when that car has got too much angle and stalled out. So that's a bit of good luck for him there at that point. It's right at the start here, you can see just one wheel on that edge of that dirt, and that dirt is getting pushed further and further out as the weekend goes on. Smooth through here this time though, looking much more comfortable in that lead position, setting his own pace. Look at the speed, he got it right, and the amount of speed he takes out on that little straight section. Jackson Bradbury has to change up his line and go a bit shallow there to close the proximity up, and you see him trying to hold on to that lock. Luckily he gets past the finish line. And we'll wait to find out if we get a result out of that one. Oh, we're going to get it one more time. I'd say it's lead versus lead. They were very, very similar. Had issues in the chase run for both cars. But he's getting plenty of laps now in the Falcon. He didn't get any in during qualifying. It was all in his S13 that he's just built. And he's had to change over to a very different platform, being a Falcon Ute. Probably just missed that clipping point right there. for Bradbury. You can hear him using the clutch to try and get it going. It's probably changed Daniel Flood in the background. He's just had to stall out for a moment, had to get back into the drift. As you come on that straight, that'll really help as they push the car down and set themselves up for this final corner, and he closes that proximity up once again. Wasn't clean from both drivers. Let's have a look at the tri-ace replay. Bradbury enjoying his time through here in the Falcon. It's just here where he needs to get back out a little wider and come back towards that clipping point. Flood's right up on the inside there. Shows how much room, but it alters his line there, and he has that little straighten for a moment, Daniel Flood, just as they head onto the main straight, but he needs to get the accelerator down to make this final corner stick and close that proximity up, which he does. Well, Bradbury's had his opportunity to lead in this one more time. Now it's up to Daniel Flood. What can he do? The LS versus the Barra. Ford versus Holden. Flood, does he keep it off the dirt this time? I think he does. That's a fantastic run in the lead. Have a look at him go, but Bradbury's right beside. Nice transition through there. Keeps the nose a little bit closer to that clipping point, I thought, for Flood. Bradbury, though, has a moment as well. It's not as big, though. Straight. He sets up on the outside. He initiates very early. He must have a lot of speed. That's what it looks like. Wow, Jackson Bradbury. That is a very early initiation. Check out the tri-ace replay. It's not this first time they come around the corner. It's as they come around again. Good through here for Flood, though. He did a nice job of that little section. He's got the back wheel off the ground for a moment there as well. There is quite a lot of undulation in this concrete figure 8 track. We do confirm Jackson Bradbury gets the win, but have a look at how early he initiated that final corner. He is carrying speed. Well, let's head down to the pits now and find out what happened to Sammy Mudge in the earlier battles.
Well, Sam Mudge, I'd like to say that we're interviewing you with your car on the trailer so that it's at the right height for you, but I fear that's not the case.
Nah, unfortunately it's not. Coming around, I guess it's the wall ride there, and you come through it's a pretty aggressive dip. Came through there holding it flat, and it actually bent the front left tyre rod and just ripped me straight out into the grass. I was a passenger at that stage, so not over unfortunately, but been a pretty big weekend. Driven 2 comps in one day today, and I'm knackered anyway, so I don't care. It's still fun, it's all right.
More kilometres on this thing than most road cars. Now, Sam, could you just give us a bit of a rundown on what's happened with the accelerator? We'll try and get the camera in there just so you can have a shot.
Yeah, I think what's been happening there is I'm pressing the throttle so hard it's actually bent like its whole bracket over, and it gets stuck underneath the brake pedal there, so I just press it with my toes, and when I press on the brake pedal it revs the car at the same time, so it's a bit how you going, to be honest. That's a pretty new addition, that.
Very new addition, and probably not something we're after. Sam Mudge, unfortunately, night over.
Always great to see that big smiling face. We've still got a couple of battles to go in our top 16. Don't go anywhere. It's an epic final round of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars Series for 2024. Well, welcome back to round number 5, our 5th and final round for the 2024 season. We're back at the figure 8 where it all began 10 years ago. It's an exciting round. We've still got a couple of battles to go here in our top 16. Let's head down to the pits with Tegan and find out what happened to Dane Loco.
Dane Loco didn't make it through to the top 8. But you're up against a pretty tough player in Scott Shembry, and I got to tell you, that was a hell of a run. That was very cool to watch.
Oh, there wasn't much else I could do, you know. I was in 3rd gear and just sent it. I just changed the diff gears and it was a bit of a mistake, so we just changed it back and I had to send it. I had a D-beat on the chase, so there's nothing I could really do to win except for balls to the wall, so it was good.
Well, Dane, we're happy to have you here for round 5, and good luck for the rest of the year.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, great to have Dane joining us for the final round of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars Series out of Queensland. Let's move on to our last couple of battles in the top 16. Ned Colston from down in Victoria taking on Joseph Janik. Ned, he's had a bit of success quite a few years ago in the Pro-Am series, but in the Pro here this weekend, Joseph Janik, well, he's done plenty of laps drifting as well, and he's done a fair bit of travel. The supercharged LS in the RX-8, still a small wheelbase platform, isn't it? Going to be very nimble around a track like this compared to the turbo to LS power of the 32. Look at Colson, though, nice and wide, and understeer from Janik. That's a massive amount of understeer. Trying to get a grip on those tyres. The concrete surface quite different to what we come across with the bitumen as well. Nice and close here. Janik doing great with the proximity. The transition here as well just allows him enough room. Janik's doing a fantastic job at the start of this battle. Nice speed from both of them as they come out of here. He cuts the corner a little bit shy there, Janik, as he has to come to the inside to get that nose in. But there's a moment where he might have changed gears or something, and then he's had a straighten there where it's just understeered, unfortunately, and that is going to cost him a few points in that chase position. Janik will lead us out this time. Maybe that car is very gripped up and maybe wants to go a little bit faster. Oh, you see the steering he put on the front there. He just has to play with it for a moment. It's just looking a little bit unsettled. Colston as well. I know he's been chasing some diff gears this weekend to try and just find that right ratio when it comes to the power versus how quick it comes on. And he's had a moment in the back there and a big straighten there from Ned Colston. So that's going to hurt him in his chase position. So both cars making an error and doing very similar lead runs. This one's going to be hard for the judges. The tri-ace replay will try and dissect it just a little bit. Look at Janik, how wide he is in the RX-8. He was really wide, right on the outer clipping zone there. Goes wide and misses that clipping zone though, and Colston has to back off so that he doesn't go past him as well, because he was on the inside. He might have had a better line. It really affects him though. Again, what the judge spoke about before Chris did is you've got to set yourself up in that final run to come onto the main straight. Otherwise, it affects absolutely everything for that final corner. Well, it's a one more time. The judges didn't want to split them. They said, you know what, you can go again, and the crowd are loving it here in Sydney. Janik throws it in, a massive amount of angle, and it spins out in the background. He has stalled that car up. He's going to get back into this, though. He's not going to throw it completely away. You never know what's going to happen. Ned Colston, though, he's on his own now. He just needs to get through this run. He's still got a couple of corners. Listen to that turbo sing now as he gets onto the main straight. Sets himself up. He initiates in the final corner. Janik in the background looks like he went out onto the grass. We might see that in the replay, and Colston finishes off that lap. Let's have a look at this tri-ace replay. Now, that was where he got very sideways, Janik in the background. Doesn't spin the car completely out, so he can get back onto the track. See, that's another replay of it. Now, he's trying to catch up to him a little bit later, and I think he's gone off in the grass once again. Janik will lead this time. Colston needs to try and not make a mistake, though. Just get through to the next round. Janik puts it all on the line. He is right on the outer clipping zone. Look at him. Back wheels on the very edge of the dirt. An aggressive transition as well as he goes through this middle peanut section. Colston again, just for a moment, is too close and just has to stall up not to make contact there. But look at the speed he's got in the background. Janik, though, on fire in this lead run. He's gone a little bit wide. I think that's a little bit of dirt being flicked up into the air. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though, because that chase run was disastrous for Joseph Janik. Let's have a look at a replay now. He was nice and wide, Janik. He has some driver skill. Goes a little bit wide here, and again, I think Ned Colston was expecting that he would be in a little bit tighter. He stalls the car up, so it affects his run in the chase. Janik with a lot of speed there in the RX-8, and look how wide he goes through his final corner. How that didn't collect the dirt, pull the car around, I don't know. Goes off right at the end with the speed he's going over the finish line, but he's already past the judging point. The same with Ned Colston. He spins out after the finish line, which means it's not part of the judging. But they're going to go again. We love it. Can't split them. They keep making mistakes in that chase position, so they've got to go again. Will they run out of fuel and tyres? Another little straight in the background from Janik, and now the car goes to the left. It doesn't follow the line, so he's had an error in the chase position again. Both these drivers not comfortable with the driver in front. Colston sets himself up. Have a look at the initiation. Is it good? It's not bad. He's not as deep as what we saw Janik last time. Janik's managed to catch him up a little bit too. He's got a lot of speed in that RX-8. Have a look at the tri-ace replay. Not quite going as wide as what we see Janik, that big risk there, but there's a moment there where he has to get on the brakes and stall up, where he's going very fast. That car's looking gripped up for Janik. Really unsettles him though. affects him through that little peanut section, and then he has to try and get on the gas again. He's faster here, though. Look at it moving in the background. Colson just sets himself up nice and calm. Just needs to do what he's done lap after lap in that lead position. Well, they're going to turn around the second one more time for these two drivers. And Janik, is he going to risk it again? He's been really out there on that clipping zone. And again, you hear the whine of the supercharger. Brings the RPM up. It's nice at this point. Is he going to be a little bit more shallow to that clipping point? I think he's a little bit wide again. This time, Ned Colson, though, a lot smoother. Doesn't get caught out by that. There's a moment there where he gets off the gas, though. Not as bad as what we've previously seen. Janik, he loves that corner. Look at how wide he gets and the speed as he goes across the finish line. Ned Colson, it probably wasn't as big an error as we have a look at the try replay. There was a big one there for Joseph Janik when he was in the chase. Ned Colson is here. He's not too bad. He continues on this time, gets to this point here where we just see a moment. It's not as bad as what I thought the first time. A lot of angle there, though. He's trying to make up that ground. What a drive from Ned Colson, and he gets the win. Let's catch up with Tegan in the pits.
All right, well, we're down here with Jackson Bradbury now. We're about to see Tim Bradbury's car roll out the pits, and your car's sitting here. I feel the bonnet. It's not very warm at the moment. There's been a bit of a car change go on. What's happened there? You're through to the top 8, but you're having to share a car.
Yeah, look, it's a brand new car. This is literally the second time it's been driven in 3 years. So it's a little bit of a failure, but it's not something we can't fix. And for the next round, and come back next year and go from there. But thanks to Dad giving me the car again, and yeah, see what happens.
Obviously, there was a bit of a practice run heading into this, and you qualified. Was there any signs, or was it something that you felt?
Look, there was a little bit of a sign. We didn't think it was as bad as what it was. We just thought it was a breathing issue, but it's turned out a little bit worse. So we've decided before it gets really bad and destroys everything, then we're going to pull the pin and go from there.
All right, Jackson, stellar run. We're looking forward to seeing you back out there.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Can you believe it? We've still got one more battle in our top 16. Glenn Omerod fighting for third position in the championship. Potentially, he's an outside chance of second, taking on Tim Bradbury, the father of Jackson, back out in his car that he's lent to his son. Let's see how this goes. Glenn Omerod had a massive moment in qualifying yesterday where the car went up on the wall and had to do a fair bit of repairs to the front suspension on that car, but he is on song at the moment. He is not scared by it at all, and look at the speed of the GT86. Throws it into the final corner, out wide on the clipping zones, and Glenn Omerod putting on a fantastic lead run. That car still very, very fast and nimble around this tight figure 8 track. We have a look at the tries replay. How wide is he? That's the first time they go around that corner. Through this little peanut section, and yes, he's got the front end back in towards that clipping point, and that is very specific what the judges want to see. And it's set him up here, and look at the flow he gets through and the speed that he carries down to the final corner. He's got a big gap over Tim Bradbury. Oh, that poor Ute, that's doing a lot of work tonight now with 2 drivers in it as well. He's going to lead out this time. Glenn Omerod, he has to slow the 86 down potentially. The 2J Power GT86. Oh, and it stalls out for Tim Bradbury. There might be an issue there. He's tried to initiate, and it looks like it has just stalled the car out. Glenn Omerod might have got away with no damage on the car. I don't think any contact was made after the effort they've had to put in overnight to get the car back here this morning. Let's have a look at the Tri-Ace replay. Just seems to lose power or something got off. I'm not quite sure, but they are going to pull that Ute in, and it looks like Glenn Omerod is going to get the win in this one. So we are going to move on to our top 8 battle tree now. That has set it down for these next battles. Kieran Ratcliffe will take on Ian Hancock. Scott Shembry will take on Jackson Bradbury. James Abbott will battle out with Ned Colson, and Glenn Omerod will take on Benny Barnes. Top 8 battles, let's not muck around. Let's get right into them. Your number 1 qualifier is going to take the lead this time over Ian in the big Drift Mob Falcon. And look at him initiating the first corner. He got that number 1 because he was right out on those outer clipping zone. Ian's had to cut that down quite a bit, and the car is very straight through that first section. That is going to hurt him when it comes to those points in the chase position. Ratcliffe doing a nice job out in front. Is he the man of mistakes as the night goes on? We'll have to wait and find out, because he was super strong in qualifying. Little bit of foot brake just to trim the car speed up a fraction, and nice finish to that one. I think Ian was much more comfortable as they came around the second time. And the Trias replay you see here, he's cut the line very short, and maybe a little bit of understeer on the car as the tyres did straighten out. But if you don't set yourself up through this part right, very hard to try and fix that throughout the drift. He's managed to recoup it right at this point. And from here on, Ian does a nice job of changing position. Ratcliffe, though, has the run on him, and he's got that little bit of a gap as he leads out in the skyline. I think that's a definite advantage to Kieran Ratcliffe at the moment. Have to wait and see, though. He's still got to do a chase run. Anything can happen, and we've seen it throughout the year. Look at how fast he comes out of the gate. Ian, he is flying in the Falcon. He's got that Barra on song at the moment. Nice transition back. Actually stays quite close to that clipping point, does a fantastic job. Kieran Ratcliffe's got his work cut out for him in the chase position. They go for that little smooth drain there. Kieran Ratcliffe, he's again on the midline there, try and close up that proximity, and have a look at Ian and the Falcon. He is out wide, hitting all the clipping points out there. I don't think it's going to be enough. The chase run may have cost him this battle. Let's have a look at the Trias replay. He did a really nice job though in the lead. Not quite sure what happened in that chase position, but have a look at this through this section. Nice and smooth. And look at the speed that he carries on to the little straight we've got here. The car really lifts up on the suspension and sets himself up for a nice initiation of this final corner. But Kieran Ratcliffe confirmed and gets the win out of this first top 8 battle. Well, we move on. Scott Shembry taking on Jackson Bradbury, so hopefully they've managed to get this car fixed. It's not looking like it. It looks like Jackson is limping the Falcon into the first corner. As Scott Shembry, well, his nickname Scoots, and he's scooted away now in the 350Z, and Jackson Bradbury will spin out in the background. That is very unfortunate. Look at how fast. I spoke about it earlier. It's deceptive. You think just being a small figure 8 track, these cars are going to slow down quite a bit, but they carry a whole lot of pace into this big right-hander that we see over the finish line. Let's head down and catch up with the man of the moment, Scott Shembry.
All right, well, Scotty Shembry, unfortunate there for Jackson Bradbury, who hurt the Ute. They're going to have to retire from the night. That puts you through the top 4 battle. Now, there's a little bit going on here because obviously Kieran Ratcliffe, one of the young guns, pipped you last round, top qualified tonight. Now, it's going to be all on here for the top 4 battle.
Yeah, well, that's it, man. So this is the final round of the year. So look, Kieran's been driving killer, hats off to him, but like, we're going to put it all on the line now. So cars are coming in 1 piece or 2 pieces. That's it, man.
I love it, Scotty.
Oh, look at great personality, Scott Shembry. Win it or bin it. Let's find out what happens. Still in our top 8 battles, James Abbott take on Ned Colston. Now, Ned Colston's done a whole heap of laps tonight. He had 2 1 more times already just before this one. James Abbott, though, he was our number 2 qualifier. He's leading the championship, looking for back-to-back wins. He has been on the podium at every round in 2024, and he has got a lead over Ned Colston. Look at the speed of Nigella, the S15. Bonnet's off, 2J's on song, and look at him through the final corner. That car is gripped up, and how calm is he as he just pulls off the finish line. Let's have a look at the Tri-Ace replay. Car squats really nicely. It's not unsettled. You don't see the suspension unloading as the transition comes through this peanut section. And fast out of there as well. That car is absolutely gripped up. You can hear the anti-lag as he's getting on and off the throttle. Over the finish line, and he does have a substantial gap over Ned Colston. But what can Colston do? He's got to lead out, and he's been through the pressure already. He's had to do 2 1 more times in the previous round, the top 16. He's gone right out on those clipping zones. Leaves him a little bit of room. James Abbott, he does. Just holds back a moment. Now what does he do? Oh, there's a little bit of a scander there in the middle. You can see he's actually not as comfortable at this speed at the moment, but James Abbott still has that proximity to Ned Colston. That's going to be a big advantage when you look at Chase versus Chase. A little bit slower for Ned Colston in the lead compared to what we saw James Abbott as well. So the driest replay, you'll see it here, just backs off James Abbott, gives him a little bit of room, doesn't want to make contact. And again, leaves him room there as they transition back to the second last corner before they make it straight. And James Abbott will be confirmed as the winner of this battle and will move on to the top four. Ned Colson, what a great effort, and great to have him back at the Hi-Tec Drift Allstars Series after a few years of being out and stepping up into the pro category as well. Ben Barnes joined the series this year and he has been super impressive. Unfortunately, in round 4, a mechanical issue saw him on the trailer before the battle started. And he's up against Glenn Omerod, who is clinical when it comes to doing what the judges want. He's got himself a number of podiums this season as well. Benny Barnes just starting to lead away, the Rockhampton young gun. Look at the speed as he carries in the final corner. Probably one of the only cars out there to match Glenn Omerod when it comes to pace. Omerod doesn't let him get too far away. The proximity is not massive. Let's have a look at the Trias replay. Look at how fast Benny Barnes is through here. The rocket from Rockhampton. Transitions nicely, gets those clipping points in the peanut section. Just a little bit of a break there for Glenn Omerod as he had to pull the car up to try and avoid contact. How fast is he here? Have a look at Benny Barnes. That is nice, and he is going to take the challenge right up to Glenn Omerod because they are battling it out for third in the championship. But what's happened? Ben Barnes in the background. What is the issue? We've got lights. You can see him in the background for the cars when they need to leave. Has someone missed the light, or do we have another mechanical gremlin in the car? What a shame for Ben Barnes. If someone's left a little bit early, well, we might see a rerun. We might see this sorted out. But if it's a mechanical issue from him, that's going to hurt. And that will cost him third place in the championship for sure. He does get the car running, though. We'll just wait and find out if it is mechanical, because he is driving the car up, and Glenn Omerod obviously trying to figure out what has happened here as we get our starter to go up and find out. You know what? Let's head down to Teagan and find out exactly what happened.
Well, Ben Barnes, I didn't want to really talk to you like this. Now, that battle I was super excited for because there was about 3 points separating yourself and Glenn Omerod going in there. So that was really to decide the championship. And I'm sure Glenn didn't want to see it end that way either.
No, well, yeah, I was super pumped for it. Hey, like, Gleno's an awesome driver, man. I've loved driving with him. Drove with him at QR at Winton. It was sick. He can steer. So I was super keen to actually, like, really push this time, but nah, unfortunately the car said no.
Yeah, now, so we went to get off the line, and I didn't know whether it was a false start. I didn't know whether Glenn maybe got on too early or whether you didn't get going. Just tell us what happened.
Well, I think there must have been something wrong in the top end that I've done. It must have just like overfueled or something, I'm not too sure. As soon as I went and put my foot on the throttle, normally it just revs up happily, but this time it just stalled out and sat at the line, cranking, didn't want to start, and then as soon as Gleno rolled back, she fired up and then stalled again 5 seconds later.
Heartbreak, mate. I mean, it's been super exciting watching you here for the 5 rounds. Not ending the way we wanted it to, but, mate, it's been a pleasure watching you.
It's been an honour. I loved every second of it, except for this bit. This sucks.
All right, Benny Barnes. All the best, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah, an unfortunate end there for Ben Barnes in the 2024 season. Don't go anywhere because we've got our top 4 set to go. They're going to battle it out and find out who will go on to the podium battles. Welcome back to the final round of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series for 2024. We're down to championship decisions. Our top 3 in the championship are now in our top 4 battles, and this could change some of the minor placings. James Abbott, well, he's got a stranglehold on it at the moment. He takes on Glenn Omerod to find out if he's going to go to the top step. And Kieran Ratcliffe, who was our #1 qualifier, taking on Scott Shembry, who he knocked out at round number 4. So this one's going to be a tight little battle here as we head into the figure 8. We celebrate 10 years of Hi-Tec drifting, and look at Ratcliffe. He is not going to lay down for Scott Shembry. He is going to take it to him. Nice transition. Shembry right on the back quarter of him as well. What's left of the back quarter anyway. There's so much smoke in the air. These two drivers on the bake, and the Master Chef getting a taste of his own medicine. Can Ratcliffe kick him out of the kitchen? We'll have to wait and find out, because he is right on the door, Scott Shembry. He is not letting him get away. He knows what Ratcliffe is capable of, and he is taking it to him. Ratcliffe, you can't take away that he is hitting those flipping points. He is doing what the judges ask, laying down nice, clean lead runs. Scott Shembry on and off the throttle there in the 350, making sure he emulates him as best as possible. They are both super fast down this little straight. Nice initiation. They're both on those outer clipping zones. They go through the final corner. Wow. Can Kieran do the same to Scott Shembry? Scott Shembry on an absolute mission to get on the top step of the podium for this final round and try and close those points up to his teammate in the championship. It's a nice drive. Ratcliffe just opens up a tiny gap, and you're talking a tiny gap. There's not much in it at all. Scott Shembry, how fast can he be? The Ratcliffe just grabbed something on the inside of his car through that corner. Look at the gap he's opened up. The 350 is dialed in for grip, and the Master Chef wants the kitchen back. And can he get the win over Kieran Ratcliffe? It's a little bit of a celebration. He might be feeling lucky tonight. Let's have a look at the Tri-Ace replay. Nice run through there in those outer clipping zones. The transition through here looks smooth as well. Ratcliffe takes a slightly different line, and he hits the clipping point on the inside. So he's gone shallow, and that will probably be the difference there. It affects his speed coming out, and Scott Shembry blazes into the final corner with a small gap, and he gets the win in this top four. He is going to battle it out for first position a little bit later on tonight. The question is, will it be his teammate James Abbott, or will it be Glenn Omerod? James Abbott, he can clinch the championship right now with a win. But Glenn Omerod, after what was a disastrous first day and qualifying, he is fighting back and doing a fantastic job. Nice flow through there. Glenn Omerod just emulates him nicely. Lots of speed, but James Abbott, where did he find that gap? There's a small gap now. Glenn Omerod's been fast all season. We'll wait to see the Tri-Ace replay if there was something that caused that. James Abbott, he's already sideways. He's not even into the first corner. He is just foot down, trying to get as much power to the ground. Transition through here. Emulation is nice from Omerod. This section here. Does he just miss the drive? He might have gone a little bit wide. A lot of smoke there as well, and after coming in contact with the wall yesterday, he might have just rolled out of it for just a fraction of a second there. That's all James Abbott needed to open up that very small gap he had going into the final corner. Glenn Omerod, he's going to have clear line of sight now as there's still smoke coming out of the cabin. Look at the angle as he throws it into the first corner. He is right out wide on those clipping points. Omerod with a nice transition. Emulation is great from James Abbott. Not much in it either. Look at the proximity, and he stays on him. This is the point where Abbott got away. Can Omerod do the same? It is a small gap. I don't think it's quite as large. It's the final section though. How close can they be? Oh, they're almost touching, but they just go over the finish line. Was there contact made, and was it after the finish line? The Tri-Ace replay might tell us exactly what happened there. Look at the emulation there. They switch back at the exact same time. Nothing in that. You couldn't stick a credit card between them. And James Abbott stays on through this section. A little bit of a scando, sets the car up, drives down. Now, Omerod just escaped him a fraction. I don't think he got away as much as what James Abbott did, and he gets the win in this battle. Let's have a look at our final battle tree, our podium battles now. Kieran Ratcliffe will take on Glenn Omerod for third position. And the teammates, Scott Shembry and James Abbott, it's going to be a 1-2 for the Hi-Tec Blaze unit. But who's going to be on the top step? Who's going to finish the season on a high? Kieran Ratcliffe leads away Glenn Omerod in this third place battle. Does it nicely, nice and wide. Omerod right on the back of him. Look at Kieran Ratcliffe though. He carries a little bit of speed through there. If he can hold this, nice emulation, there is a tiny gap. It's all about here. Can you get the flow? Can Kieran Ratcliffe keep Glenn Omerod at bay? Oh, look at Omerod chasing him down, closing that proximity right up towards the finish line. Wow, we have a battle on our hands. This is the Tri-Ace replay, and Kieran Ratcliffe, he is millimetre perfect to those outside clipping zones. Just hangs the back of the car over the dirt, doesn't quite get the tyres on there. Sets himself up for this final corner. The bodywork, there's more of it hanging off. It just needs to hold on for one more battle in this season. I'll tell you what, that body kit needs a rest. It needs an off-season to get itself sorted. Glenn Ormerod shoots out of the starting block, and have a look at the speed. He is going to match Kieran Ratcliffe in this one. Putting it all on the line, opens up another gap in that section, just like Kieran did. And Kieran just knocks that clipping point again, like he did in the previous battle he had. And look at Ormerod, he's got the speed, he's got the drive out of that second last corner, all around that outer clipping zone, and he is fast. Let's have a look at the Tri-Ace replay. They just go out after the grass, don't they, to try and really set the car up. Those guys who are confident at it. These two are going head-to-head. It's at this point here which changes everything. And again, we see that clipping point move, and is that the difference in the chase run between these two? Glenn Ormerod definitely opens up a slightly larger gap, though, down that straight into the final corner. And they're across the finish line, and will we get a result from these two? I think we are going to get one. Yes, we are. We'll have to wait and find out who ends up in third. But it's the teammates. Final battle, final round of 2024. James Abbott has sealed the championship. Scott Shembry will seal second position, and the teammates are out for fun now. They have done this so many times at Sydney Motorsport Park in their drifting history. What an iconic duo to finish us off for the 2024 season. James Abbott doing a nice job. He is so clinical. Scott Shembry, he is just out there in the 350s there. You can see the flames coming out of those screamer pipes now out of the bonnet. Pumping every bit of boost into that LS around that final corner, but James Abbott, I think, was a little bit better line in the lead. We'll have a look at the Tri-Ace replay. There's always, the car gets unsettled coming out of that little spoon drain. He opens up a tiny gap. Look how wide he gets for a moment there. Right out towards the dirt for James Abbott. This transition point, very good from both drivers. They millimetre perfect so they don't make contact. Through here, they're very close. See Scott Shembry just a bit shallower through that spoon drain, unsettles the car, and a bit of lack of power to the ground for a second there, just opens up the tiniest of gaps, and he'll change his line through that final corner, but the chase car always will. Can he do the same to his teammate James Abbott? Scott Shembry, well, he's got nothing to lose, neither does James Abbott. He said, it's bin it or win it. Have a look at him coming around. The car looks a little bit unsettled for Scott Shembry, though. Is there something under the car, and maybe an issue with one of the tyres, because the car has slowed down now, and that's unfortunate, because that will be a massive advantage to James Abbott, whose car now missing the front right hand of the bumper. I'm interested to see the replay here. The car did look like it wasn't balanced there for a moment. It looked like it was down on one side, potentially a debeaded tyre in that car. We'll have to wait and see exactly what has happened to Scott Shembry as they run out to have a look at this one. It looks like that bumper is going to hold on, and Scott Shembry in the background, the right-hand side of the car doesn't look too bad, but we want to have a look at the left-hand side. It looks like he's probably going to come in and he's going to give this win over to his teammate. Let's have a look at the Tri-Ace replay. The left-hand side, oh, we can see the rim sticking out. That is DB to the tyre. Scott Shembry's not going to get off it at this point, but you can see the understeer there through there. So a DB on the front left-hand side for Scott Shembry. After such a great chase, he hasn't been able to finish the lead run for Scott Shembry and his teammate. Well, what a year he has had, James Abbott. He has got on the podium at all 5 rounds. He has gone back-to-back championship. Wow, what a year for James Abbott. Let's head down, though, to our round 5 podium with Tegan.
Well, folks, that's round 5 run and done here at Sydney Motorsports Park. But we have to get, of course, our podium out of the way. The top 4 battle has been run and done. And then, of course, we will get into the championship standing as well and give out some trophies for that. So, without further ado, after a pretty hectic weekend here at Sydney Motorsports Park, give third place to Glenn Ormerod. Gleno, mate, good to see you here on the final step. Hard competition here for the final round and some really cool battles going on. Got to be pretty happy with how you went.
Yeah, pretty wrapped. Come third in the final series and the championship. And after yesterday, last night, wasn't looking too high. Thought we were going to have to get the backup car out, but the team pulled it together, got the car here, and it was all right. So pretty happy with third with that.
All right, Glenn, well done on third place here tonight. And now, of course, it wouldn't be the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars without the Hi-Tec Blaze unit. So let's get into second and first place here tonight for round 5. Give second place to Scott Shembry. Scotty, what a pretty cool battle to go into the final round. And you did say that you're either coming in first or coming in two pieces. Now, mate, you got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, look, can't catch a break with this bloke, eh? Like, seriously, nah. Actually, they beated the front tyre before he came in for my lead run, so couldn't do much about it. But look, tried to put on a good chase and had a good season. So look, we'll be happy with this and move on to the next.
All right, Scotty, thanks for that, mate. Now, of course, first place for round 5. Give it to James Abbott. Jabs put it all on the line here tonight and came away with the top spot. I mean, it is super cool to watch you guys out there. You're so fast as you get around the track, and you obviously were going all for it there.
Yeah, man, that was wild. That's what we drift like, with good mates doing good laps. We knew we kind of had it. We're in a good place in the championship coming into this round, and so we just really kicked back and relaxed and just look. All we wanted to do is put on a good show for these people. Really impressed with how many people came out and they stuck around to the end, and I hope we made it worthwhile.
Well, let's have a look at the final championship points. James Abbott with 538 points over Scott Shembry on 461, and Glenn Omerod rounds out our top 3 on 397 points. And in 2024, your back-to-back champion, 2 years in a row. Give it up for James Abbott. Jabs, absolutely incredible effort. Now, this is a stat we're going to take into this. You've been on the podium at all 5 rounds.
Yeah, really comes just down to having a really good team, really good car, and really good products in the car. Hi-Tec oils. You can see both cars out here. There's obviously good stuff. Good tyres, Tri-Ace. A lot of the drivers, I think, this round sort of switched to them to keep up, and they're amazing tyres. But just so stoked to get this heavy trophy. And so thankful for Hi-Tec Oils for putting on this event for us, and we just had such a good year. It's been relaxed, good vibes and good battles, and just had a ball.
Tell us who's probably been the biggest challenge, I suppose, the up-and-comers.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Kieran. He's absolutely killing it. Every round that goes by is really, really good to see him just like improving like that. I think he's probably a bit of a problem for us now.
Look, mate, big smile on your face. Great to see the Blaze unit back on top. 1 in your championship for 2024. Back-to-back James Abbott, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause for our championship winners. We want to thank all of our supporters in the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars Series, whether you're at home or at the track. What does 2025 have in store for the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars Series? Well, stay tuned to all of our social media on Facebook and Instagram to find out for all of our upcoming events. We can't wait to have you trackside with us once again. Of course, stay slideways.